Community Education at Piedmont Healthcare, Dr. Jane Morgan. Doctor, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Does China loosening its COVID policies reflect science and the case numbers that we're seeing in that country right now? Reportedly 37 million cases in one day last week. Or do you suspect it's primarily motivated by public pressure and the protests there?
And so I think that's a great example of going from one extreme to the other. They had these lockdowns and then they went immediately to a completely open society. And I see that's what we are seeing the result of with these multiple cases that are hard to really pin down, trying to understand the transparency and exactly what is the caseload there in China. We certainly are all concerned. Obviously, in the scientific community, what concerns us the greatest is the evolution of new variants. And will we be able to track the genomics of those variants and be prepared for them ahead of time as we see this multitude of infections, which really is in the millions?
Do we have any information on the strain or variant that they are seeing in China right now? And should we be worried about it coming here?
And so the variant that is predominant in China is already here. It's the B7 variant in lower numbers, 4%, 6%. We still have the predominant variant of these BQ families, but the predominant variant in China is already here. And so when we begin to look at these travel restrictions, it's very porous when we're talking about a virus like the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is an airborne virus. It's very difficult to contain free air, especially when we're talking about the movement of humans who require air for life. And so this is a very difficult and interesting approach. And I think you saw many scientists even early on question whether or not travel bans or restrictions really work when we're talking about airborne viruses. Really a better approach, I think the scientific community probably agrees with this, is vaccinating and boosting the population. In China, they are severely under-immunized, and also in the United States, where we enjoy a greater degree of immunity, we certainly could do better with boosters as well as we prepare with what could be new variants coming.
So do you think that requiring COVID testing for travelers from China is the right move? Will it prevent any sort of modicum of spread?
And so while I think it would be helpful, it certainly doesn't prevent. And certainly when we say a testing that's 48 hours prior to takeoff, any person could become positive within that 48-hour span. And so that is a bit of a rubber, maybe a rubber stamp or a Band-Aid, but it certainly does not prevent COVID nor this particular variant from entering the United States. It may prevent some infected people who are caught before that 48-hour period from boarding the plane and entering the U.S., but it certainly will not prevent everyone. And when we think about today's date, December 28th, and this isn't even going into effect until January 5th, there will be thousands of people traveling between then and now. And it's a little bit like locking your screen door. There's still going to be air and things coming through. Air is incredibly difficult to contain, and I think we need to begin to think about what is another strategy for dealing with an airborne virus.
Certainly appreciate the perspective. Dr. Jane Morgan, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.